Exactly 2 years ago, I was going through a hell of a breakup, and I was desperately looking for a video that would bring me some comfort, some hope, and I couldn't really find one, so I guess I made one today. One night, my ex-partner told me that I'm no longer excited to see you. And to give you more context, he texted me, I love us a week prior. And I thought that was the cutest thing. Little that I knew that I would find myself on my knees crying my ass off a week later. I've gone through three major breakups in my lifetime, but this was the most painful one because it was so unpredictable. We didn't have perfect relationship, but I thought we were in a loving relationship. We had mutual respect and we were going somewhere. He wasn't my first love, but I really hoped he was the last one. And to be honest, he was everything that I prayed for. So I couldn't really understand how my dream could turn into a nightmare. I mean, this man traveled continents to meet my family. He was always consistent and we shared somewhat the same values. How can I explain this to you? But I always knew that something was off, but I could not name it and I could not find the courage to ask the questions. But when I did, I was already year and a half into a relationship, which, if you ask me now, it was a little too late. Luckily, he was brave enough to be honest with me this time and he shared his darkest secret. But I honestly was like, we can get through this. We can definitely work on this. And I suggested the therapy. He listened. So I'm thinking, like, we got this. But I had to choose myself. I walked away because I could never get through. I'm no longer excited to see you part. All I remember after he said that is me not being able to breathe. And I felt like my world just ended. Everything collapsed. And I'm just it's over. It's over for me. Now, let's get into aftermath. My first question and the most annoying one was when this pain will end. I just wanted someone to give me the timeline. 6 months or 1 year or 5 years or anything. I just wanted to know how long this will take me. And obviously, no one can tell you that because everyone's healing journey is so unique. So I'm going to divide my healing journey in four pieces. First 6 months, I don't really want to remember it, but it was absolute burning hell. I was not able to breathe sometimes because of so much stress. I would hold my breath unconsciously and I was not able to sleep. I was not able to work properly. I was not able to work out. I even had days when I asked my roommate, I'm like, I know it's a big ask, but could you please stay home? Don't go to the gym because I cannot be left alone. And sometimes I was not even able to pee because my body was so tensed that I had to really take my time to relax in order to pee. Yeah. I know it sounds very dramatic, but it was dramatic. I was so angry. I was blaming him for everything to the point that my anger affected my physical health. And I just knew that old ways would not work anymore. I had to come up with something else. And this time I was like, I'm not going to run from my emotions because that's what we do, right? When we get hurt, we're like, we go numb, we don't want to believe it, we don't want to accept it. We do absolutely everything not to deal with our emotions because it's so painful, right? But trust me when they say feel it to heal it is the formula because as you're processing your emotions, the energy moves through you. It doesn't get stuck and or suppressed. And slowly I started to realize that wait a second. I blame him for everything, but if like attracts like, then there's a lot of information for me to grasp. What if this person was a reflection of me and he reflected everything that I needed to see and know about myself? That was my tipping point because that was a beginning of me leaving the victimhood. You cannot fully move on and fully heal being a victim. You gotta leave that behind. Understand that this is not to justify anybody's ridiculous behaviors or decisions, right? But this is really for you, for your own healing, to ask questions like, wait, where is my blind spot? How can I move forward? What can I learn from this? Because all of a sudden, everybody around you knew that this would not work and you deserve better, you could do better, and blah, 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 blah. But how is this helping you? Being there, done that, it's not going to help you. Let me tell you, it will bring you mental, physical, and psychological issues. Okay, second 6 months. Now that I've asked wise questions, I slowly started to get my answers and I slowly started to see where I gave my power away. And I was like, what else is there that's not serving me anymore? And I realized my job. I quit that job. I shaved my head. I turned 30, so I was like, I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to find who I really am. I'm going to get to know myself. And I started to ask myself, who am I without this relationship? Who am I without the job that I had? Who am I without having income? Who am I without having long hair? And I started to massively shift my identity. I moved from New York City to Bali, and to my surprise, my cousins decided to come with me for a couple of months. And I ended up having girls' trip, which was so much needed. This relationship and pain that I've been through really forced me to see that I was so disconnected from my body, from my soul. And I basically invested in myself. On a daily basis, I would ask myself, what would you like to eat? What do you feel like eating? How do you feel right now? I would name my feelings, which is very important to be aware of yourself. Because before that, I would be like, I don't really know how I feel because I'm not tuned in. I'm not connected. I'm not connected to my mind. I'm not connected to my body. I'm just disconnected. Okay. I tried everything new that I could think of. I tried surfing. I totally failed. Balinese people really taught me to how slow down. And I started to really enjoy the sunset, really enjoy life, basically. This is not to say that you have to move somewhere, although if you can, that would be amazing. But this is about making time for yourself. Then I decided that it was time for me to come back to New York City. And I got really mad about myself because I realized that I just didn't really remember my dreams. I forgot why I was here, why I moved here to New York City when I was 20 years old in the first place. So I remembered all those dreams, and that was really, really painful moment because I was like, it felt like I wasted the whole time. But I promised myself that I would do absolutely everything that it takes to get my dream apartment, my dream career, pursue everything that fulfills me. And I honestly kept my promise. I live in my dream apartment. I've never had an apartment like this before, and I'm so proud of myself. I started my YouTube channel and I've gone to Victoria's Secret casting. That was absolute dream of mine. I started to choose what thoughts I wanted to entertain, what thoughts I wanted to engage with. And it was a long process, but it was so rewarding because I finally felt powerful. Okay, so now we're at third 6 months. I used all this time to really deepen my relationship with the highest power, creator, God. I loved the whole process because it really led me to learn that we don't have to do everything by ourselves. We can give it to God. And sometimes, like, you need to get out of the way, okay, and let God do God's job. Your job is not to be a God. Your job is to be human. So now, if I'm struggling with something, I'm going to excuse myself from the situation, whatever that is, and clear my mind, come back to my senses, ask for help, ask for guidance, and then get back to it and do whatever it's necessary. The final 6 months, I am still single. I have not gone back to work. I have my own business, and although it doesn't do very well at this moment, I'm still very grateful. I traveled to Mexico by myself. I enjoyed every second of it. And I think by now it's safe to say that I developed a relationship with myself. I learned how to be happy without money. I learned how to be happy without a partner. I learned how to be at peace with my own energy. And it doesn't mean that I don't need a partner or I don't need the money, right? Having a partner is beautiful. Having money is beautiful. Having all the opportunities is beautiful. But my happiness and my peace is not dependent on someone or something. And when you become the source of your own happiness, no one can take that from you. That's the ultimate goal. Because when the breakup happened, my whole life ended, right? Like I did not exist anymore. Looking back, how can I not be so grateful for the relationship that didn't work out, right? Sometimes things don't work out because God has better plan for us. God sees, like think of it like you have puzzles, right? And then you don't have the big picture. You don't know where to put those puzzles together. But God has the bigger picture. God knows where to put the puzzles. Trust. Trust that your healing journey is very unique to you. That pain that I've been through was the biggest blessing and such an honor to give someone so much love, so much care, right? It's just an honor.